gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Face in your face. Face in your face.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Latina Diaspora. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, what we do is we discuss issues pertaining to Latinos living in the United States. I also have my main YouTube channel, which is called Uncommon Sense with Jose Negro, where we discuss everyday issues and we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone uses logic. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on Facebook and YouTube. And also, the subscriber mode has been enabled for the first 5 minutes. Meaning, if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you need to subscribe to the channel. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined, I really appreciate your love and continued support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, as well as those who allow me to enter into your devices and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So what I'm going to ask you to do, if you've not done so already, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notifications to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So tonight's topic is going to be living in New York. So I'm going to share with you what some of the challenges that Latinos face when they move to the Big Apple. The episode of Remember. This is, I don't know if you're a who became infamous and nothing regarding um, the content that she posted on TikTok. But for those of you who don't remember, there was a situation where she made she was making a delivery to a guy, and the person had instructed. Now, this a person apparently the customer apparently was consuming alcohol, and this person has passed out, and he was partially exposed. Okay. Um, as a result of drinking. Now, this person, this lady, for allegedly, I'm going to say to enter the apartment, videotape the customer who was passed out, partially, his genitals was exposed. and then posted it on TikTok. And then she made a claim that allegedly that the guy SA her. Okay. Which 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 would be serious except for the fact that first of all, person was intoxicated. The person was drunk, and there was no physical contact contact made. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to give you the definition of what is sexual assault. Sexual assault is any type of sexual contact without consent. The definition of sexual assault varies when based on content or geographic location. Sexual assault can include non-consensual kissing, groping, and penetration. First of all, how can a female was passed out be in a position to assay anyone? Okay. Good evening, Gigi Juju. Thank you very much for stopping by. And let me just tell everybody, my friend Gigi Juju has her own YouTube channel where she produces a lot of interesting content. So I'm going to ask you to show some of her, subscribe and check out her content. So getting back. So here's the situation where the customer obviously, you know, instructed the DoorDash person to leave the order on the door. The door was closed. Okay. So we're talking about entering premises without permission. We're talking about videotaping up individual post the content on TikTok, all for the purposes of getting clicks and views. Now, what happened? You know, what happened was this person, this male, who allegedly sexually assaulted the DoorDash person, his name was dragged through the mud. Luckily for him, he had camera which videotaped everything. To make a long story short, um, the DoorDash lady lost her job. Her account on TikTok was deleted, and she was arrested and charged with happened to the fact that she entered premises without authorization. And then when the court came asking not to be videotaped. Now, the reason why I'm discussing this topic before we get to the main topic is the fact that people can be falsely accused of criminal activity. And that's why it has to be, we have to be mindful of that. Look a camera that videotape everything. But the words of the wise, be careful. Okay? Don't assume anything. And just remember that there are people out there that are sick. So, with that being said, we're going to go to the main topic. Now, I want to state, I'm going to state that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone wish to hit that link and opine regarding the topic at hand, they can do so. Let me make this perfectly clear. If I have never seen you before and I've never heard from you before, I will insist that you camp up in the backstage to make sure that no one tries to flash any adult related content, which will cause the people of YouTube to take down the stream. Once I see that you're going to abide by my guidelines, I'll let you on the panel. Challenges that Latinos face um, when moving into New York. First of all, moving into a new city, that's a big issue. That's something that's because for many Latinos, particularly Latinos that came from places, they might have been raised in small towns, okay, or they might have been raised in the country. So they have to get used to city life. Also, they have also rush, okay, as compared to their situation in their later lands in their cities. Another challenge that Latinos have when they move to New York is um, trying to find employment. Okay, that could be an issue, particularly if they don't have a great deal of marketable job skills. And even if they have marketable job skills, it can take time uh, to find employment. Also, um, another issue um, that Latinos have to face when they move to New York is trying to find develop a sense of community, okay, and try to figure out where what are the community resources that are out there. That could be an issue. Okay, sometimes language can be a problem. Okay, but particularly if they spend a good portion of their life they never learn English, and in fact, learning English in itself uh, that could be that could be a challenge because one thing we have to understand is there's a lot of differences with English and Spanish. With Spanish, that can have more than one way to pronounce. Okay. And also, in the difference between English and Spanish, Spanish comes from Latin. It's like a combination of multiple languages mashed up together, and that could be a challenge. That could be a challenge for any Latino. Okay. And also, one thing to bear in mind, for example, um, what neighborhoods to avoid, what things to get used to. Like for example, um, here in New York, you have to be mindful of your surroundings. You have to be mindful of the fact that um, crime can occur anywhere. Crime can occur. So that's something that we all have to bear in mind. Also, another thing to bear in mind is what may be considered acceptable in their land of origin may not be acceptable here. And I'm going to illustrate a case in point. When I was dealing with when I was dealing with the migrants uh, years ago. Speak with them, and I would try to explain to them that here children really cannot be left unsupervised. Also, they might explain to them that there are all sorts of people, wicked things to people, and particularly wicked things with children. So that these are things that that they need to, and I try to orient them. Also there's a whole process that has to go with as far as like enrolling children into school, what sort of documents that are needed to make sure they get able to enroll. Also trying to help them when it comes to dealing with social service programs and things of that nature. So there are many things that people have to be oriented about. Also, another thing that Latinos have to deal with that in certain buildings, certain things are permissible. Apartment building where they do not allow you to have do not also things as when it comes to noise is concerned and trying to maintain a certain decimal point. Make sure that you don't create undue noises for your neighbors. Okay. Also, such thing is like recycling, which is done here in New York, done in New York City, and I suspect in other cities as well. And another thing that could be a challenge is trying to find a place of worship for you to go, regardless of what is your religious to go to, what mosque to go to, what temple to go to, or if you are a Jehovah Witness, what uh, I don't know what the I don't know what Jehovah Witnesses call their places of worship, but things of that nature. Also, there's certain things as far as what the best places to go for groceries. So these are many things that Latinos moving to New York have to deal with. Now there are challenges living in New York. There are certain advantages as well. First of all, or as imperfect, we also have buses. We also have a railroad as far as transportation. We have roads and things of that. Okay. Uh, Also, we have culture. We have museums uh, of different types. Okay, there's even a museum for sex. Okay, so if you there are cultural museums, there are libraries, and things of that nature. Also, there's theater. where they have, you know, performances both on Broadway, off Broadway. Um, another thing, another thing that is a strong point. We have several parades. Okay, where different ethnic groups are able to celebrate their pride. Like for example, in June we have uh, two parades which I am familiar with. First of all, we have the National Puerto Rican Day Parade, which I think is at the second Sunday of June. Also, okay, now what I'm going to say, I'm just stating for information. This, I am not condoning a particular lifestyle. I'm just simply stating the fact. But also, they have where members of the LGBT their pride in their community. Okay. In August, we have the National. In March, we have the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Uh, we also have. It seems like virtually almost every month of the year there is a parade. So if you're the type of person, most likely the Israeli Day Parade is also uh, Labor. Okay, there's also the Labor Day. Okay, well, it's not Labor Day on Labor Day, but it's a parade where all the union member, members of all the unions solidarity. And of course, there are smaller cultural parades, like for example, in East Holland, the Three Kings Day Parade, okay, which occurs on Three Kings Day, which is otherwise known as, okay. And for those of you who do not know anything about that holiday, that is the day when the wise men came bearing gifts to the baby Jesus. Of course, we also have so there are a lot of cultural activities. Also, there's sports. We have several sport teams. Of course, we have baseball. We have the New York Yankees and the New York Mets. In basketball, we have the New York Knicks and the Brooklyn Nets. Hockey, we have the New York Rangers. Okay. Um, and of course, we have other sporting events as well. So we have a little bit um, for those who are trying to live in New York. There are also some advantages as well. So I just don't want to make it a totally negative picture. So for anyone, whether it be Latino or not, who are thinking about moving to New York, just bear in mind there's a lot of challenges involved, but there's also a lot of blessings involved as well. So these are things to consider. Now, um, as I stated, I'm not going to stay the next time that I will be live will be on Thursday at 10 o'clock, where I will be discussing another topic. Okay, just give me. Well, I will present my topic on Thursday. And of course, on Friday, oh, That's true. That our subway system operates 24/7 as well, because we work at 9 to 5, and then you have people who work up until 8 a.m. So New York there's a lot of challenges living in New York, but there's also a lot of blessings. You just have to learn. Okay. And I'm sure it's the same thing DTG do in your town. I mean, I know you live in Texas. I don't know where in Texas you live. And for those of you dozens of bodegas, I don't know, actually, hundreds of bodegas, okay? Um, Especially if you're in like in Spanish Harlem, or Washington Heights, or parts of Brooklyn. But in any case, I'll be on my other main channel on Thursday, and where I will share my views regarding several topics, and of course, you, the audience, will have an opportunity to. And also, if you have any topics that you want me to discuss, I will do my best to comply. If it's something where I do not have a great deal of knowledge, I will be transparent to do so. In all fairness, there's certain topics that I prefer not to discuss because people don't know much. So, with that being said, I'm gonna wrap this up. Of course, you to play it back in. You're more than welcome. Your comments, okay? I hope you find this little this little live interesting, something to consider. Uh, if you have not done so, consider subscribing to the channel, and also subscribing to my other channel, which is Uncommon Sense with Jose Negro. Okay, and, and of course, I'm gonna and that's it insanity. Thank you very much, for your attention, and please check out her content. And of course, whatever we say and do, we should do to the glory of God. Just wanted to say thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your patience and your understanding. I talk soon, so hopefully with that, I'll be able to hop on. Thank you very much for your time. Take care. Peace.
Be strong.